What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Open Ultra League submitted to the channel by Pikachu562572, who's running a crazy triple shadow team with Unpheasant, Alakazam and Gengar. I will tell you now, these battles are at rank 20, so maybe not the highest level of opponents that you've ever seen, but it does make for some very unpredictable and very entertaining battles. So with that being said, let's just get straight into the question of the day. Which shadow Pokemon that you've never seen in the Go Battle League or used by someone else on YouTube would you like to see featured on this channel in the future? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, and I do apologise for the slightly awkward looking display. These battles were done on a very widescreen device, and I did initially try to stretch the video so that it would fit into the normal graphic, but that just looked really awkward. So instead, we've just extended the screen here and we've cut out the images of the Pokemon, which doesn't really matter as you are seeing them in battle. But here we are going to fully sacrifice the Alakazam there. Notice also Alakazam not running Counter or Fire Punch, running Psycho Cut and Psychic, which is quite an interesting moveset. We're now going to come in with our Shadow Gengar. I also want to mention that sometimes we lead with Alakazam, sometimes Unpheasant, sometimes the Shadow Gengar is also running Focus Fast. It's a bit all over the place really, but we're going to grab a shield with the Sludge Bomb, come in with the Shadow Unpheasant, and we manage to throw on CMP. So we go for the Sky Attack, grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and at this point we're putting it all on the Shadow Gengar. Blast Burn easily takes out the Unpheasant. We're going to overfarm as much as possible here, now going for the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is going to take out the Incineroar, and they had Double Dark in the back, but Shadow Gengar just doesn't care. We're going for the Sludge Bomb number 2, nearly one-shotting Greninja. It is a CMP tie somehow, which doesn't make an awful lot of sense, but it doesn't matter. We still got one shield. We can shield up the Night Sash, go for the Shadow Claw farm down, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Unpheasant into a Purified Venusaur. So the opponent here is going to stay in, at least initially. Unfortunately, they will outpace us to the first charge move, so I'm going to let it go through. The opponent goes for the Sludge Bomb. That nearly one-shots us, and Unpheasant is probably the bulkiest Pokemon on this team. So this team really does lack bulk, but it can also hit extremely hard as we take out the Venusaur. They then come in with a Togekiss. We can come in with the Shadow Gengar, going straight for that Sludge Bomb. No baits here. Unfortunately, we just can't bait because we're only running nuke charge moves. The opponent will make it to a charge move. We kind of have to shield this up as Shadow Alakazam has very little fast move pressure. We need to get the Shadow Claw farm down, and we barely get it in time. The opponent has a Giratina in the back, and we are going to bank the Shadow Ball on our Shadow Gengar. If we can grab a shield with the Shadow Ball from our Alakazam, I think we might be able to take them out here, although, like I said, Psycho Cut's really not doing much damage. We do grab that final shield though. The opponent going to go for a full farm down, but we did have the Shadow Ball bank. But is this enough damage to take out Giratina? Yes, it is. It one-shots the Giratina from near full health, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, another Annihilate in the lead. This time we are leading with our Shadow Alakazam. The opponent is going to safe swap into Incineroar. Is this the same team that we saw in the first battle? I'm not sure. We're going for the Shadow Ball. Of course, that is persisted damage, and well, our entire team actually doesn't do very well up against Incineroar, so not ideal, but the opponent doesn't go for a Blast Burn there, just a Dark Pulse. We can just barely hang on and make it to a Sky Attack, which does grab a shield advantage, but they can just go for a full fast move farm down. At this point, we're going to come in with the Shadow Gengar, go for the shield. It is Blast Burn this time around, so it doesn't really make sense, the charge moves that the opponent is throwing here, but that's okay. We do get a full resisted Shadow Claw farm down. They come back in with Annihilate. We're going to throw on what looks to be a CMP tie, so very good timing. Shadow Ball is going to grab the final shield from the opponent. At this point, yeah, definitely shield the Gengar here. Unfortunately, we won't be able to quite fully Shadow Claw farm them down, but they swap into Empoleon. I would have liked to see us go for the Focus Blast, but it doesn't matter as a Shadow Ball still one-shots them. We're now going to swap into Alakazam. We make it to either charge move, doesn't really matter what we throw. Both are super effective. Both will be taking out the Annihilate, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Cobalion in the lead. So unfortunately, Steel Wing isn't great in this matchup as it is resisted damage. We're going to swap into our Shadow Alakazam, hoping to catch a charge move there, although unfortunately it doesn't work, but we do bait out a Giratina. Now Shadow Ball is going to do huge damage in this matchup. At this point, I'm not really sure if we can afford to shield. Oh, we actually are going to shield. Okay, they're going to go for a Shadow Sneak there. We can now go for a Psychic. This pretty much guarantees that they're not running Ancient Power though, so that is good news for the Unpheasant, as we can come in here, easily tank a Dragon Claw, and then we can just go for a full Steel Wing farm down. So Dragon Claw, still going to do a decent amount of damage in all honesty, but we are going to swap immediately into our Shadow Gengar, able to catch a charge move. We were in Sacred Sword range, but the opponent full sent the Stone Edge there. That is certainly not ideal, but this is just a Sacred Sword, and this is going to be triple resisted by the Shadow Gengar, and we are actually going to make it to a Shadow Ball in time. That is insane. Shadow Ball is going to grab the final shield from the opponent. We are barely able to make it to a Sky Attack before the opponent throws a charge move there. Sky Attack takes out Cobalion, and they've got a Cresselia in the back. Now we are running Hyper Beam. I want to know if a Hyper Beam will KO. This is a Shadow Unpheasant. It is fairly attack weighted. We are just going to full send the Hyper Beam here. Hyper Beam doesn't actually take out the Cresselia here, and the opponent is unfortunately able to make it to another charge move. Moonblast will be taking out the Unpheasant, and unfortunately we do end up losing that game. I don't know if we could have just gone for back-to-back Sky Attacks there, but honestly, it was more impressive throwing the Hyper Beam anyway, so I'm not even mad that we didn't win that game. But into next battle, the opponent is, for whatever reason, going to swap into a Poliwrath to tank a Sky Attack, which they end up having to shield there. We're now going to come in with the Shadow Alakazam, of course. We should be able to live any charge move. It's an Icy Wind. It is going to debuff our attack, but it doesn't make that much of a difference. This Psychic probably still will KO the Poliwrath from this range, so the opponent will be using their final shield already. We actually dropped their defense there with the Psychic, which is very nice. We can now overfarm in this matchup here. Actually, nope, just going to go straight for the Psychic here, and even double debuffed Psychic will be taking out the Poliwrath, and they're now going to come back in with the Greedent. We can just let this move go through. They do have a little bit of residual energy. They actually go for the Crunch there, which is interesting. Very unnecessary, of course. Body Slam would take us out here. But they're going to go for another Crunch, so I don't know if they are not running Body Slam. Maybe they're running Crunch and Trailblaze. It will be interesting to find out, but we go for the Sky Attack. Sky Attack is going to get them very low. We are going to shield, and they actually are running Body Slam, so that is very strange. They make it to another Body Slam, but I think we've put them into the perfect range where we can actually double resisted Shadow Claw, farm them down there, and they come in with another Cresselia, so hopefully Gengar can avenge our Unpheasant here as we go straight for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball actually doesn't quite take them out there. The opponent makes it to a charge move, but it is just a Grass Knot, which Gengar, although it does resist, didn't tank particularly well, but it does tank, and we're able to take that game. Now going into the next battle, unfortunately a lot of lag here, not really sure what's going on, weak connection. This is certainly not ideal. They go for the Night Slash there. We will make it to a Sky Attack, but they can just safely shield this up and probably fully Bullet Punch farm us all the way down. So that is definitely not ideal. And of course, our Alakazam is not running Fire Punch, so not great either. We're now going to come in with the Shadow Gengar. Honestly, I think we have to double shield and then commit to a full Shadow Claw farm down. The opponent goes for a Night Slash and they get a boost, which is certainly not good. We're going to have to double shield here, and the opponent gets a second boost, getting us incredibly low with just Bullet Punch damage. But will that matter as we go straight for the Focus Blast, dealing huge damage to the Poliwrath? We get the Psycho Cut farm down, but the opponent's got a Charm Gramble in the back, and unfortunately, unless for whatever reason they no-shield this will be game over as the opponent does correctly shield up the Psychic. They can just Charm Farm down both Pokemon in the back, and unfortunately we do end up losing that game. But going into the next battle, we see Shadow Alakazam into Venusaur, so this is a good matchup for us. The opponent's going to Safe Swap into Arcanine, and they will just barely outpace us to a charge move. This could be a Crunch or a Wild Charge, so we're going to shield. It is the Crunch. No debuff on our defense there, so that is nice. Going straight for the Psychic. Honestly, I don't know if Psychic does more damage than Shadow Ball. Of course, Psychic has been nerfed several times. It is Stab, but obviously Shadow Ball does hit a lot harder, so honestly, I don't know which is the right move to go for. Let me know in the comment section if you do know. But anyways, the opponent comes in with the Venusaur. We're going to come in with the Unpheasant. Once again, we've seen we can tank a Sludge Bomb, but it's not comfortable, and they already make it to another charge move. At this point, we're just going to fully sacrifice the Unpheasant, come in with the Shadow Gengar, and look at the Incinerate damage and the Shadow Claw damage. This is just insane fast move pressure from both Pokemon. We do shield that up. I don't know if we're going to make it to back-to-back Shadow Balls in time, though. We go for the first one. Shadow Ball is going to grab the final shield, but they do just barely outpace us to the next charge move. Frenzy Plant will be taking us out. Can we still make it to a Psychic, though? Yes, we survive with literally 1 HP and a Dream. Make it to the Psychic. Psychic takes out the 1 HP Venusaur, and we're able to take that game. Alright, awful lead in the next battle as we lead into a Purified Ampharos. We're going to say swap into Alakazam, but not ideal as they have Brutal Swing for coverage. We're now going to go for a Shadow Ball, but honestly, we kind of just need this to connect. The opponent is going to shield it up, but then they come in with Cresselia, and this actually isn't that bad for us, as we can go for a second Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is going to be no shielded. That does huge damage considering it is non-stab from the Shadow Alakazam. At this point, we just let the move go through. They go for a Future Sight there, so not really sure what their secondary charge move is, but I don't think that is the right play. But either way, we probably can live a Future Sight, so we will no shield. We barely live it, but we get the perfect farm down to come out with a Hyper Beam loaded. Please, opponent, let this move go through. Oh, unfortunately, they do end up shielding the Hyper Beam. Damn, that really sucks. But we are, of course, going to have to shield in this matchup. They go for the Brutal Swing. I think we can just go straight for the Sludge Bomb, but the opponent makes a brilliant catch onto Virizion here. I think we needed to undercharge that, as unfortunately, we can now Shadow Claw, farm them down. But really nice play by the opponent, as they did bank a Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing will be taking out the Shadow Gengar, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. Really unfortunate that we didn't see the Hyper Beam land there. That would have been so amazing to see. But into the next battle, we're going to lead into Giratina, and this is amazing for us, as we do typically resist everything they're going to throw, unless they are running Dragon Pulse, but that is very unlikely. Here, we're going to go for the Sky Attack. This probably is enough damage to KO from this range, but the opponent will use their shield. Now, they do outpace us to the next Shadow Ball. We still can live this, and we will let it go through. And at this point, we're going to go for a Hyper Beam BM. This is crazy. This is double resisted damage, and the opponent still won't let it go through. Oh man, what's wrong with these opponents, man? We want to see those Hyper Beams landing. It's really awkward as well, because the one battle that it did land, it didn't take out the Cresselia either. And also, they then come in with a Vaporeon, so these wouldn't be low rank battles without a Vaporeon, but it wasn't in the game for very long, as they get nuked by a Shadow Ball. We could have made it to a Charge Move there, but instead we banked the energy just to make it to a Charge Move on our Shadow Alakazam instead. Shadow Ball coming through will certainly take out the Togekiss, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Unfezant into Greninja, so definitely not good for our backline. We need to get rid of this Pokemon immediately. We're going to no-shield the first Charge Move though. That's very interesting, but it's just a Night Slash bait, which is fortunate for us. The opponent also then not throwing straight away. We go for a Sky Attack. The opponent lets that go through, and at this point, yes, we definitely can afford to just let this move go through. Night Slash will be taking us out, but we can go for a very... Oh no, we should have come in with the Gengar there, because now, unfortunately, we are forced to shield a Night Slash. Shadow Claw would have been enough damage to take them out there, but they come in with Hisuian Typhlosion. And very good timing there, as it looks like we throw on the CMP tie. Shadow Ball grabs the shield from the opponent. At this point, we have to just let Alakazam go down. Hopefully, Shadow Gengar can come in and go for a full Shadow Claw farm down, but the opponent will make it to another Fire Punch already. So, of course, we do have to shield here. They go for the Fire Punch. We can get the Shadow Claw farm down, and they've got Hisuian Decidueye in the back. So, interesting that they're running Greninja in the lead, because this looked like a full Hisuian starter theme team if they're running the right Pokemon, which, of course, would be the Samurott, but it doesn't matter. Double Sludge Bombs takes out the Decidueye, and we're able to take that game. We're going into the next battle, Unfezant into Venusaur once again, and the opponent's going to be running Razor Leaf as the fast move here, so not typical for Venusaur, although it still can work in some metas. We're going straight for the Sky Attack. Unfortunately, got a ton of lag there, but... did we lag or did we just undercharge? I'm not really sure, but that turned out to be really good for us, as we get a very nice Steel Wing farm down. We come out with very little health as well, so they only get off 2 Incinerates. We also grab a shield from the Skeletor, so actually not that bad for us. We're now going to come in with the Shadow Gengar, of course, gonna have to shield this up. The opponent is going to full send the Shadow Ball, which is good news for us, as now we're going to commit to the full farm down. No, actually, we are going to commit to getting most of the energy there, and then swapping into Alakazam to get the farm down there, just to gain even more energy. And now at this point, this should be game over. I'm assuming a Shadow Ball from a Shadow Gengar will definitely take out a Gyarados in the Ultra League. So at this point, we've got the Charge Move banked, but the opponent gets off the Charge Move. Somehow we end up losing CMP. That makes literally no sense, and a Crunch takes us out there, as Niantic unfortunately rob us of a win. But into the next battle, we're going to see Alakazam in the lead once again, unfortunately met with a very awkward save swap here. We You will catch a charge move, although I don't really think that helps us at all because now we are down on energy. If we swap straight away, then of course we still would live a Dark Pulse, but we'd also make it to the Sky Attack before they make it to Dark Pulse number 2. Now here we're going for the Sky Attack. Sky Attack will be grabbing a shield from the opponent. I think the opponent's actually going to commit to a full star farm down, which does work out in our favour as we make it to Sky Attack number 2, grabbing a shield there, and we're also able to make it to a Psychic as well. Now this is resisted damage, but it takes out the mark from that range. They come back in with the Poliwrath. They do just barely outpace us to the charge move, so we're actually going to shield this up. We do now have a Psychic loaded, and the opponent comes in with Armored Mewtwo, so this is looking quite scary. Unfortunately throwing on very awkward timing. Shadow Ball coming through, but the opponent overfarms there. We also overfarm. Not really sure what's going on here, but it doesn't matter. Shadow Ball will be taking out the Mewtwo, and now we can just come in. We should be able to live one charge move, although it will be very close. I just realized they're running Mud Shot, and they're also running Dynamic Punch. I have literally no idea why they threw that. These are low rank battles, but Dynamic Punch triple resisted by Gengar. Made no sense, but whatever. We're going to take the win there, and we take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way, you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.